pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Brubaker,
Here.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Davis, Kaiser.
Yes.
Thank you. Any corrections to the agenda this evening?
Mayor,
Mr.
we
Crane?
will be requesting that item 12 be tabled.
Okay, I got that. All right, hearing no others, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Minutes from the last meeting, which would have been in the packet. Any additions or corrections to the minutes from last meeting? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So move.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Crane, any visitors to recognize?
Not at this time.
All right. Okay, we'll move on to communication requests. Number 2, request from Mobley Senior High School.
Thank you, Mayor. We had a request from the Moberly Senior High School for the annual homecoming parade on September 24th, 2021. And Public Safety has reviewed this and is recommending it be approved.
All right, questions about the homecoming parade? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to number 2, a request from Christina Flores.
Yes, this is for the annual SIDS Awareness 5K on August 16th, 2021. This has been reviewed by Parks and Rec and recommending approval.
Thank you. Any questions about this particular 5K? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
It's been motioned. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to number 4, receipt of bids from state contract for a rubber tire loader.
Yes, this is for a rubber tire loader for the street department. We received a bid and are recommending approval for $178,000. We ask that these bids be accepted.
Ryan, I think that number's, that's.
Did I put the wrong number on there?
I think that's the wrong number, yeah. I think you got the wrong one.
Let me
It should be
see.
like 175 and some change.
All right.
Let's see.
Let me see
For the
real
cat
quick.
from Altorfer.
175, 825.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. 175, 825. For the CAT 926M.
And that's with no trade, and so that's just, we feel like our resale value's high enough, we'll do better.
All right, questions about this particular bid? Mr. Davis?
Tom, in your write-up on it, you said that the current warranty is out, and what would it, I mean, can we buy a new warranty on the old machine?
We
Is
can.
it-
The current another good thing about this machine is this is one that Altorfer has in stock, so it can be ready in about 2 weeks. Our warranty doesn't run out till September. If we'd went with any of the other bids, which were higher anyhow, but if we went with other bids, we wouldn't have got the machine until probably November. And to maximize our trade-in value, we would have needed to re-up the warranty, so that'd be a few $1,000s to renew our warranty for another period of time. So we would still be under warranty when we can list our machine and get top value out of it. I mean, I'm seeing other machines go like that in the $100,000 range right now.
So what's the pros and cons on keeping the old machine and just renewing the warranty on it?
You could, it's about $6,000. I mean, you can renew it, but that's like, I think we can go another 2 years on it, on the warranties. So, I mean, it's just one of those things, about 5 years where we started seeing things. In fact, on this last John Deere, I mean, it was a fluke, but I mean, we had to replace the engine in it. So even with that, it's, we start seeing more issues with them. And so we've just had better luck, and the top value is kind of at 5 years. Like I said, the machine that we have now, we can probably sell it and get close to $100,000 out of it.
Okay,
So it's just maximizing our value at that period. You go much beyond that, we start dropping off.
I got you.
Mr. Brubaker?
Kind of along that same line, so if I'm reading this right, is this a 60-month warranty on this one?
Yes. We-
Okay.
We've done like, we've been doing these on a 5-year rotation. And so we've been getting really good value out of our other loaders. And so, I mean, you can go longer, but, you know, your value starts tapering off is what we're seeing. It's kind of like what we talked about with the enterprise vehicles, as far as, you know, keeping your
Right.
vehicles shorter periods and trading them out and getting better values out of them. You know, if we were getting nothing for the loader, obviously that would be irresponsible to
But
trade it.
the warranty itself is 60 months, is that right?
Yes, so it's,
Okay.
and that's what we've been doing, 5-year cycles on these, and we keep them
And I'm
under
just
warranty
curious,
the full
what's the
time.
life expectancy of one of these? What's the projected?
What's
I
the-
mean, should they last, what, 10, 15 years, 20?
Well, it depends on how you use them. I mean, you could probably run it for 20 years, and, you know, it depends on the hour time, you know, you probably could go, I don't know, 10,000 hours before you need an overhaul or something like that technically. I don't know what that number is off the top of my head, but as I say, we've done some research on these in the past and found that 5 years was kind of the trend based on the level of use that we were getting out of them to maximize our value as far as you can see, if we can get 100,000 out of it, you know, it's costing us 75,000 for 5 years.
Would you do that through Purple Wave or?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we probably, frankly, because we have time, I'd probably list it in a construction, listing it that way and putting a higher number on it so and see if we don't come out well at that, then we could go to Purple Wave if we get down the road a few months and aren't seeing any.
Okay, thank you.
So just to be clear, you are planning on selling ours outright, not trading it?
Correct.
Okay.
We were offered a 72,000, I think, on trade on one of them, and
Yes.
so I know we can do better than that.
Okay, anyone else? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to receive this bid?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to number 5, receipt of bids for 2 patrol cars and 1 SUV.
Yes, Mayor, we received one bid from Moberly Motors for 2 patrol cars and 1 SUV. The total purchase price came out to $92,522. We're asking that these bids be accepted.
All right, questions about the bids? Mr. Davis?
Yeah, I guess it'll be, will these be replacing 3 cars or 2 and an SUV? And then is there a trade-in value or is there any value?
Most of the cars, we put them on Purple Wave to get what we can get out of them.
Okay.
So there's no trade-in on those cars. We don't trade in the Moberly Motor, we just put them on Purple Wave.
Yeah. Do we have an estimate of what they're worth or?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Good. Anyone else?
We can pull up some from the previous rounds and
I'm
show you what
assuming
they
they've
were.
got high mileage and everything.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they're not probably worth a lot.
High hours and high mileage.
Okay.
And these were even delayed, I think, 1 year because we didn't replace vehicles last year because of the budget crunch.
Okay.
So this is,
The SUV is showing transmission problems we addressed previously. The sedans are showing high mileage, lots of uses problems as well. So we put on Purple Wave, might get 3,000, might get 4,000.
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to ordinances and resolutions, number 6, an ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I have an ordinance approving a First Amendment to a cooperative funding agreement, asked to be read for passage.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance approving a First Amendment to cooperative funding agreement between the Downtown Moberly Community Improvement District and the City of Moberly for improvements to the Fennel Complex.
All right, you've heard the first reading. Questions about the first reading of the ordinance? I guess I would have one. That would be the item there about the black wrought iron fence. So if we put that in, does that pretty much tie our hands as far as what's going to happen in that area? Because, I mean, if you got a fence, it means it's going to be X, Y, or Z.
Limits your area. I
mean, is it a security type thing, or is it supposed to be for something else?
Both.
Yeah,
Okay, what's the something else?
Trespassing.
Okay,
if you had like an event in there or something, you could limit access, through a gate, and also if you have other things like food trucks or something set up overnights there, you could lock it down in the evenings and, have it lit, and it'd be,
so it kind of is a event space atmosphere, what you're saying?
that's what the goal was. I mean,
Okay.
or what the perceived
I
goal
think
was.
that generally is good. I just have questions about what was mentioned, which is farmer's market, so.
If it's a ticketed event, we wanted to
Yeah.
have some accessibility, and then we just don't want people going in there
There's
any time
not
of day.
one goal for me. It's not, that was one thing that was discussed, something that could
Okay.
be possibly viable, but that's certainly not what it's set up to be exclusively.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? All right, hearing none, second reading.
An ordinance approving a First Amendment to cooperative funding agreement between the Downtown Moberly Community Improvement District and the City of Moberly for improvements to the Fennel Complex.
All right, you've heard the second reading. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So move.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes.
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Kaiser.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Ordinance passes. Moving on to number 7, an ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance accepting change order number 6 in the amount of $1,458.32 to the Morley Street Sidewalk Improvement Project. Ask for it to be read for passage.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second?
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance accepting change order number 6 in the amount of $1,458.32 to the Morley Street Sidewalk Improvement Project.
All right, you've heard the first reading. Any questions about the ordinance? Hearing none. Second reading.
An ordinance accepting change order number 6 in the amount of $1,458.32 to the Morley Street Sidewalk Improvement Project.
All right, heard the second reading of the ordinance. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes?
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Kaiser.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Ordinance is passed. Moving on to number 8, an ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have an ordinance amending City Code Sections 14-23 and 14-25 relating to conveyance of cemetery lots. I ask that it be read twice for consideration of passage.
All right, you heard the motion for the reading of the ordinance. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First reading.
An ordinance amending City Code Sections 14-23 and 14-25 relating to conveyance of cemetery lots.
All right, you've heard the reading of the ordinance. Discussion about the ordinance. Mr. Kaiser.
Just to clarify, because I think this has been asked, but I can't remember. If a person buys a lot and 75 years later deeds it to somebody else and that gets recorded, does the 99 years start all over again? Or is it 99 years from the original?
No, it'd
purchase
start over.
date? Okay, fair enough.
All right, any further discussion? All right, hearing none, second reading.
An ordinance amending City Code Sections 14-23 and 14-25 relating to conveyance of cemetery lots.
All right, you've heard the second reading of the ordinance. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval
So move.
and a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes?
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Kaiser.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Ordinance is passed. Moving on to number 9, a resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution accepting the bid of Moberly Motors for 3 police vehicles in the total amount of $92,522. Has to be read once for consideration.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution accepting the bid of Moberly Motors for 3 police vehicles in a total amount of $92,522.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is passed. Moving on to number 10, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution accepting the bid of Altofer Incorporated for a 2021 Cat wheel loader and authorizing the purchase of it. Please ask for it to be read for passage.
All right, there's a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution accepting the bid of Altorfer, Inc. for a 2021 CAT 926M wheel loader and authorizing the purchase for $175,825.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Okay, then motion by Mr. Davis, second by Mr. Kimmons. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution is passed. All right, moving on to number 11, a resolution.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution approving grant funding to area civic and charitable organizations and authorizing the city manager to execute annual service agreements with area civic and charitable organizations.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution approving grant funding to area civic and charitable organizations and authorizing the city manager to execute annual service agreements with area civic and charitable organizations.
All right, you've heard the reading of the resolution. Any further discussion?
I have a question, Mr.
Mr.
Mayor.
Davis.
The Senior American Multipurpose Center, and is that just a $4,000 contribution that we're giving to them? I noticed that you listed, or they listed 940 meals delivered at $7.49, but I mean, that doesn't equate to $4,000. So I just kind of wondered what we were doing here, so.
That's for their operation there. That number is for the Meals on Wheels program.
Okay. And it's just something we do on a yearly basis.
I don't know how long it's been, but they used to get a little bit more, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I just wondered, because the way they presented it, it was like we were buying 940 meals, and I didn't think that was the right interpretation.
Yeah, no, that's
Okay. All right, thank you.
Further discussion? All right, hearing none, is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving to 12, which I would ask for a motion to table
So move.
and a second.
Second.
Been a motion to table number 12. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 12 is tabled to the next meeting. Okay, moving on to number 14.
13.
Oh, I'm sorry. Number 13, a resolution appropriating money out of the City of Treasury of Mobley, Missouri.
Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the city of Mobley, Missouri in the amount of $721,045.95. Has to be read once for consideration.
All right, you've heard the motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? First and only reading.
A resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the city of Moberly, Missouri in the amount of $721,045.95.
I hereby certify that there is sufficient money standing to the credit of the City of Mobley, Missouri, unappropriated, and the several funds covered by this resolution to meet the requirements of this resolution submitted Gregory L. Hodge, City Treasurer, City of Mobley. Any discussion of the resolution? Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
And a second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution passes. Now, moving on. Number 14, consideration for approval of new liquor applications.
Mayor, we have received a new liquor license application from Vertigo Event Services LLC, and we ask for approval of this application.
All right, questions about the applicants? Mr. Davis?
That's the old dance studio there on Coach Street, isn't it? Where
They're still doing that.
Mhm.
They're still doing that. They're still doing that dance thing.
Are they adding a event center to that, or what are we doing?
It's quite entertaining now.
Where is it?
No, it's, actually, they own both businesses.
Well, there's a tanning place, and then there's that
It's the
studio.
dance studio. They own both businesses.
They just
Curious
have,
why they need a liquor license for.
no, they just have two businesses addressed at the same address. So they actually have their catering and DJ operation based out of another building.
Is that something new, or is that something I just?
They actually purchased this business from the former owner, who had it housed out of, I believe over by Bratcher's, the old fire building over there.
Okay, all right.
They just do catering, like bar catering.
Oh, I got you.
Anything else?
Thanks.
All right. So is there a motion to approve the licenses?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Anything else to come in front of the council? Anyone here to address the council? All right, hearing none. I would entertain a motion to adjourn to work session followed by closed session.
So move.
There's a motion, and is there a
Second.
second? And a roll call, please.
Jeffrey,
Yes?
Brubaker,
Yes.
Kimmons,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Kaiser.
Yes.
Okay, so we are adjourned from regular session, and we'll open the work session and move to that agenda. And we'll start with number one, discussion of a Bubbly, Missouri market survey update.
Yes, Mayor, this was a item that was placed in the budget for this upcoming year. This is with Austin Peters Group. A proposal's been presented to the council based on the market survey that they've done in 2017 and 2019. They're going to update those numbers. I've provided a list of the cities that were in that study, and then you see that we did include Columbia, but we've done a salary survey with them and without their numbers. It's been historical context to not include them in those surveys over the 2017 and 2019 numbers, so this will update. With the 21 numbers, we'll have a number with them and without them.
All right, so could you name the cities that we're going to compare to?
I don't have the list on there, and she's not on the slide.
Or they're proposing us to compare to?
It's
Are
the
they
same ones as the
Same ones
2017.
as in 2017?
Yeah.
I don't remember what that was, so.
I've got
Can
them.
you go to that slide, Shirley?
You want to read them?
Yeah, somebody got them in front of them?
I've got them. You have Carthage, population 14,319. You want the population? Okay. And then you said Columbia. Farmington is 18,000 something. Fulton, 12,000, almost 13,000. Hannibal, 17, almost 18. Kirksville is 17,500. Lebanon, 14. Maryville's 12,000. Marshall is 13,000. Mexico is 11,500. Republic is 16,000. Trenton is 5,000, almost 9,000, almost 6,000. Troy is 11,500. Webb City is 11, and West Plains is 12. They're all in
Sounds
there.
pretty comparable then. Okay, so anything else you want to add about this before we see if we want to move?
We are meeting with the consultant tomorrow for a kickoff meeting, and we've provided any comments we received from the council to them, so they're gonna look at that.
I would add that the previous 17 study did include the benefit package. They did consider that and made recommendations. One of the recommendations was that we started adding to the contribution of the employees, as other cities were doing, for the health benefits, and we did make that move. But they also made some other suggestions that we didn't follow.
Mr. Crane, what was the format for that? Because it wasn't on the same basis that wage study was done. It was just a flat percentage.
I think they just said,
So it wasn't done in the same manner.
It was a
It just
percentage
showed
of,
what percentage we paid of the health benefit versus some others. It didn't say that we were 10% above or 10% below.
I'll have to look.
Anything else you want to clarify on that, Mr. Hodge? I mean, is that, the way it did it was like we were 50% or 65%,
Yeah, something
and our
like that.
peers were less than that.
Yeah, the number 72% roughly is, I think, what we were paying at that point in time as
Yeah,
far as
before we
the
made-
family coverage.
Right.
And the recommendation was to get that closer to like 55%, if I
But when
remember
we got
correctly.
into the wage part of it and the other benefits, they were saying we were so many percent away from our comparison, correct? That's what we
9%.
did. So a little bit
9%
different
below.
basis.
I think so.
I think
Yeah.
so.
So are they gonna be able to clarify more or not? Because I know we asked for more after that.
I think that's gonna be our attempt, yeah.
All right, is anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right, I'll move forward to the next meeting. Number 2, review of pro temp vacant and foreclosure registration.
So we talked about ProChamp. They're a company that does the notifications and stuff, and I have asked for references, and I have been in contact with Kansas City, Kansas, Topeka, Kansas, Tinley Park, Illinois, and those are some of the ones that have contacted me back. All of them were very positive on the foreclosure side of it, excellent reviews on that, and some of them had to make changes on the vacant housing or vacant property side because of the notification procedure. They had, where ours is set up, and like the other communities, a lot of times they have to be vacant for 6 months before they do the notifications, and so when they first initiated it, they were sending out notices immediately. So, I mean, the first day that water accounts became inactive, and that's what they based their notifications off of, is our water accounts. So we need to do a little more. I've been talking with them. I'm waiting on a response back right now as to make sure that I'd like it to have it set up where we would do a review of those first, so they would get the accounts of who they feel are the vacant properties. We'd review it, make sure that's met the time frame that we require, and before they can do those notifications, so we're not letting them jump the gun. I mean, that was the biggest thing I saw from the other communities.
Okay, comments from Mr. Sanders?
I've got one.
Mr. Davis?
The requirement in the ordinance that anybody registered has to post their owner, who owns the property, and their contact information. I'm concerned that that's going to be a red flag for anybody that comes by there that see. I mean, they don't have to notice or investigate whether the building's vacant. That's going to tell them it's vacant, and it's going to invite intruders and vandalism and everything else. I mean,
Usually when they're set for 6 months, the people in that area know it's vacant anyhow, and that we're kind of getting that problem already, so. But I mean,
what's the purpose of it?
of this process,
Well, of posting in the window who owns the property and his contact information. I'm not sure what purpose that serves.
I don't know that I have an answer. I mean, that's kind of,
We can have the company address that with some
I
of
mean,
the
if there's a
case
good
studies
reason
they've
for
done.
it, But I mean, I would just think it would invite harassment to the owner, and that it would, like I say, be a red flag to say, hey, this building's vacant, come on in.
We'll check with Pro Champs and see if they've got a identified reason
Okay.
and get back to you.
Anyone else? Well, I guess I'll just reiterate kind of my point was, I wanted to make sure that they had a track record for acting ethically, because they're basically representing us in an action that is going to certainly have some good to us, but we certainly don't want a hardball tactic, super aggressive collector people out there acting in a manner that we wouldn't act. So that's where my concern is. If you're convinced their business and their track record as far as how they've acted in their business conduct is good, then I'm okay with that.
Mr. Mayor, I have one more.
Mr. Davis?
On page 26 of their brochure, that it mentions long-term rentals, creating a long-term rental list of,
we didn't
we're not
select that.
going there, are
No, we only looked at foreclosed properties and vacant.
Yeah, I mean, they listed that as a way of generating quite a little bit of money on a yearly basis, but I don't recall us ever discussing.
No, the key of this is we're not looking at generating revenue. We're wanting to get, my goal is, for the whole thing, is to move these properties off center and get them back into active population. You know, we want to see properties that are just sitting unutilized or being used as storage in the middle of a residential neighborhood. Those are, like you said, those attract, you know, vandalism, broken out windows, and just, you know, unsightly properties. So, you know, the goal is to get these where people will sell them, fix them up, tear them down, whatever, but move them off center.
Okay. I agree.
Anyone else? All right, anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right, hearing none, that will move on to the next meeting, and then we'll move on to number 3, presentation and review of Moberly Downtown Hotel feasibility study.
Thank you, Mayor. We have Sean from Gray Hospitality Group with us electronically, and he's going to give an update on the study that he has just completed and some of the information that he's received through that
All right,
report.
go
Sean,
ahead.
can you hear us all right?
I can hear you just fine, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So I guess I can give you a quick review and then talk a little bit about, or answer any specific questions that you may have. You know, I think that Brian and we have talked within a couple small different groups that, as we discussed, you know, I think there was a couple different options here for a hotel project. One, I do believe that Moberly is underserved with kind of more quality or more traditional lodging accommodations. And I'm not being hypercritical of the existing supply, but the two properties in town, if I'm correct, are between 20 and 40 years old, which kind of leaves, I think, some opportunity for some new supply to come into the market to make it a little bit more relevant these days. You know, so one of the core things that we use, and I'm just looking at some different documents here, so bear with me if I'm not staring at your computer. There's one of the key things that is the core of the market study is what we call a supply and demand analysis, and we basically obtain numbers from Smith Travel Research. Smith Travel is a company that's been collecting data on hotels for over 40 plus years. Is a company out of Hendersonville, Tennessee, and that company basically reports on all hotels that are branded, and then non-branded hotels have the opportunity to basically submit data and compare their performance to other hotels within a market, within a region that they feel that they're competitive with. It's a tool that most hotel operators and also franchise companies just use as kind of a benchmark, or I usually call it kind of the report card of the property in the industry. So when we pulled Smith Travel data, basically we observed that a competitive set of hotels, which we looked at, let's see here, about 9 properties within the greater market, most of which were in the economy segment, and we're about 470 hotel rooms. And then we basically we pulled data specifically on the Super 8 Macon, the Comfort Inn Macon, the La Quinta Inn in Columbia, the Super 8 in Moberly, and the Comfort Inn in Moberly. And typically, when we do this, we want to look at about 4 to 5 hotels, no more. And there's some restrictions on the types of hotels and the size and the brand affiliation. When we looked at those properties, we looked back over an 8-year period of time from 2013 to 2021, and basically, you know, in the 14, 15, and 16, these hotels were running around 60% occupancy. And when we get this data, it basically is a combined average. So we can't tell exactly what properties are running what kind of occupancy, but we look at the whole. Basically, a hotel competitive set, or a region or an area, if hotels start to run into the mid to high 60% range and or low 70%, a market or those hotels are pretty much maxed out from a demand standpoint. And the reason being is, you know, even though the industry is available and hotels are open 7 days a week, typically there's 2 patterns of travel. Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays for those business travelers, and then the weekends for more leisure travel. We've noticed some declining occupancy, obviously, in 19. 20 was awful, as we can all imagine. And when we look at these markets right now, we're comparing kind of 2021 and future performance to get back to hopefully 2019 numbers. The interesting thing that we noticed in 2021, the first 4 or 5 months of the year, this market had tremendous rebound. So it was up to about 67% occupancy and almost 50% improvement over previous years. So there is a lot of activity kind of coming through this corridor in this market. And I think that this is a good opportunity to showcase that from a lending standpoint and look at opportunities for new hotels. Brian, I know we talked about kind of, for the record, that really this market, I think, is best for that limited service hotel that isn't around other demand generators or traveler support services like the meeting space, like the local restaurants. And I just feel, knowing other markets, that this is probably best suited for a product like Cobblestone that has approached you. I know that there's been other developers that have talked about more of a full service experience and a higher level of investment in the community, but I just think that that's quite a bit more high risk, in my opinion, and that this kind of a franchise and limited service product will certainly be a much higher level of accommodations than currently exist, and one that's much more affordable. Even if we decided on either hotel opportunity, the biggest challenge out there these days is to find the debt. Lenders are not interested in the lodging industry, as you can imagine. In 2020, many lenders didn't even take back or were interested in looking at taking back troubled assets because we just couldn't make people travel. And the pandemic really put everything at a standstill. With the kind of increased numbers in 2021 that you've seen in the early part of the year, and we really expected that June, July, August is going to be the highest level of rebound across the country, that as we go forward into the remaining half of this year, that if the projections keep on the upswing like they're doing, that this community in this area and the level of product that you're looking at should be something that should be intriguing to an investment group and a lender. So overall, this is very opportunistic. I think the numbers look good. There was a little bit of a concern that I talked to Brian about, is that when we look at a feasibility study, it's really, is the investment going to, at a valuation period 5 to 10 years down the road, is it going to be worth more than the initial investment? And the numbers are pretty close on this project, which is basically an economic driver of rate and occupancy. So we pro-formed this hotel to be somewhere between, let's say, 50 and 55 keys, and that it would stabilize in 3 years or so. So for the projections in 2025, we were looking at about a $1.5 million rooms revenue hotel, basically running mid 60% occupancy at a $105, $106 average rate. So rate's a little bit more conservative, which kind of fluctuates the valuation. The existing investment may have a bit of a gap when it comes to the valuation at the 5-year period. That said, again, that's just kind of a really high-level overview. I'd be more than welcome to answer any specific questions that your team may have.
Questions? Mr. Brubaker.
I'm curious, the report that you mentioned, the Smith report, is that similar to like the STAR report?
It is. Yeah, so Smith Travel Research has been sold. Randy Smith was the owner of the company. It was sold, so it's now being kind of more branded as STR Inc., and they've gotten into the apartment game as well as the lodging industry. So it is the same report.
Okay, and then the other, I think you've answered most of my questions, but one of them, as far as one ratio, the RevPAR, Have you projected that on this yet, or?
Yes, we have. So there's three basic benchmarks in the industry. One is occupancy, the other is obviously average rate, and RevPAR is kind of the equalizer. So let's say, for instance, Brian owns a hotel and I own a hotel, and we got together one day and we were comparing our performance on the previous night. And he said, well, I ran an average rate of $150. And I said, well, I did $200. But he sold 10 rooms and I sold 1 room. RevPAR is the revenue per available room. So if we had the same size hotel number and guest rooms, because he sold more at even a lower rate, his RevPAR would be better than mine. So it's a way that, kind of cuts through the rate and occupancy. Sometimes when people look at projects like this, they say, well, your occupancy seems really high, but your average rate is low. And that's why we kind of like to compare a RevPAR number. So for instance, we projected in year 3 a RevPAR of about $70. The RevPAR existing in the competitive set that we've identified was closer to $50. So this is about a $20 RevPAR premium that we'd expect for a newer product. And even though the RevPAR for this competitive set on the STAR report or the STR report, let's say in 2019 was $48 as an average, there were probably hotels that were much newer, like the La Quinta and the Comfort Inns, that probably ran somewhere closer to 60, and the Super 8s were probably much lower than that. So sometimes, individuals, and Brian, we even had this conversation where we said, the ADR gap is kind of high. If the average rate in the comp set is closer to $80 or $77 or $75, wow, how can you project 106? Well, then we can kind of dive into the RevPAR. We're only predicting a RevPAR of probably $10 more than some of the existing hotel product based upon their franchise affiliation and the type of hotel that they are.
Thank you.
Okay, so you mentioned the second hotel development, and you mentioned Cobblestone. Can you just briefly contrast the difference between the two when you start talking about higher end versus one and the other? Because I don't recall anything about a second one.
Right, so I think one of the projects that was being considered was, and even being compared to a project that I did in Springfield, Missouri with the Hotel Vanderbilt. The difference between a much more high-end boutique hotel and kind of that more limited service, kind of a brand affiliated property is that, typically it's my experience that those boutique hotels, and we've done a lot of boutique properties. I ran a management company that operated about 20 different hotels. We designed, and developed probably 12 or 15 different properties around the Midwest in kind of smaller communities. When you look at these independent hotels or more of a higher end property, I would like to see typically a higher amount of midweek travel. So Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, really seeing kind of a lot of corporate business, probably quite a few full service branded Marriotts and Hiltons in a market. So, the hope is to kind of come in and steal some market share from these properties that are doing well midweek and that want some little bit higher level of experience. As well as there's got to be some leisure business on the weekends. We'd like to see typically, a high level of, Friday, Saturday nights being booked up, and there'd be quite a bit of lodging demand when you look at group and corporate business. So there's, the Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays are in excess of 70% occupancy, and weekends are running 80 or 90 or close to, the 100% occupancy. When we looked at, this market, when you compare it days of week, the market here runs Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at an average of, about low 60s, and does about the same on the weekends, low 60s. So there aren't any really high highs, and there aren't any really low dates in occupancy. So I just think that this market would be better served by a more limited service product that has a more or less an average rate that's very accessible, very affordable. And I just don't feel, based upon the existing hotel stock, that, and even in some kind of the greater markets, there's still some nice hotels, but there's not a lot of full service properties. when I talk about a lot, I mean, you're looking at, 10 plus, 20 different hotels that have been there for a while and have some proven track records. So when we looked at the level of initial investment on the property, I just don't think something in the $10+ million range would be able to really acquire a lender in the debt on a project like this. There would just be too many concerns. I think this market is really better situated for a limited, or what we kind of call a select service hotel. So, for instance, Cobblestone has a variety, and other hotels, even if they are, maybe I've seen hotels that are maybe more of a comfort inn, but they still offer some bar and beverage service, or they offer some very limited food and beverage. I ran a number of Hampton Inns back in my day, 20 years ago, when Hampton Inns were just kind of a limited service product, but we rolled out beer, wine, and some level of food to kind of keep people, there and at the hotel. And it was more of a select service than a very limited service, breakfast only opportunity. And Cobblestone has that ability to kind of run that as well within their portfolio. They've got hotels with full dining, and they've got those that just maybe do some light food and, beyond breakfast and in the evenings, and then offer some beverage or bar service as well. So I think that model of that type of hotel fits much better for your community than, I'd love to see a large full service hotel. I just think it would be really hard to raise both debt and equity on a project like that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, that's your report. I appreciate your time. We don't have any more questions, so
Thanks,
thank
Sean.
you for your effort.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity to assist. And I just have a very concise executive summary to get to Brian this week. And then if there's any further questions, I am available.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay. So does that need to move forward? That's just an information.
That was information.
Okay. So we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is receipt of bids for new street sweeper.
We reviewed several sweepers, had them come in, bring them in for demonstrations. And of the three main contenders we reviewed, staff determined that the Timco 500X was probably the most adequate for our needs. It's a regenerative air. We've had those in the past, and at the end of their life, we weren't real excited with them, but they've made a lot of changes on them. And so a lot of the things that we had found on the air curtains and stuff that really keeps the air down on the ground, instead of like vacuuming, they actually blow high pressure air down and shoot the material out of the cracks back up into the sweeper. So the air curtains they made a lot of improvements on, and they did actually a better job than the pure vacs that we've been using. And so they're a little cheaper. They're kind of like in the middle of the pack, and also some features we like is like sometimes in Homestead and other neighborhoods like that where we have heavy leaves in the fall, we have to make a lot of trips back. You fill the hopper up very quick, send the truck back, and so it's a lot of time running on the road. This machine actually has a bed height that will lift off the truck and dump, so we can bring dump trucks out to those neighborhoods, have them stacked there, so the machine fills up, dumps in the dump trucks, and it can get more time on the streets. So a lot of good features. Like I say, it's middle of the pack on price, and Columbia has, I think, 5 of them in service.
Okay, questions about the street sweeper? All right, hearing none, is that, anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right, so that'll move forward to the next meeting. Moving on to number 5, consideration of ordinance establishing procedure to disclose potential conflicts of interest.
This is a ordinance that's required by state statute that keeps us in compliance with the conflict of interest and filing of reports with the state. We pass it, I think, every 2 years. So this is the same thing we've passed in the past.
All right, thank you, Mr. Thompson. Any questions? Anyone opposed to moving that forward? All right, hearing no opposition, that will move it forward to the next meeting. Bring us to the final item on the agenda, request from Building Communities for Better Health for signs along the 3-mile wellness walk.
We received this request about a month ago, or maybe a little more than that now. Anyhow, this group is interested in using the trails down along Urbandale, Gratz Brown, over to Shepherd Brothers Boulevard, and then back over to South Williams. And there's a diagram in here included, and they were like 13 locations. And the signs you see included are about the size of parking signs, no parking signs. They're not really large. And so, we said if council agreed to it, we'd want them to use like wooden 4x4 posts where they're more a park type setting and down at a lower distance. So some of the areas along the sidewalks that they've named are not city right of way. So they'd actually have to get private easements, and that would be up to them to achieve that and acquire those. But the signs, as you can see, are it talking about squat 10 times or do arm presses for 1 minute or do lunges to the next sign. So it's trying to promote activity and certain type of activities for better health. Staff wasn't for or against. It's like it's neutral. I mean, I think it's something like they have out in the parks, some similar type signs and programs like that. So it's whatever the council would be wanting to do.
Discussion, questions about this? Mr. Brubaker?
I might just mention, many years ago, our local hospital had this. They had a trail out there, and they had similar signs and where you would do different exercise. Obviously, by looking at me, I didn't frequent that very often, but I did drive by there.
They look nice, right? And I also talked to them about long-term maintenance. So they have a grant for these signs, and I said, well, that the materials that you use on type of signage, I know that's very, if you buy cheap signs, they fade out pretty quick. So we talked about that, to maintain them, and they're actually looking at getting 2 sets of signs initially, so they'd have the ability to replace them down the road if they start to fade or look bad.
Mr. Davis?
So I'm understanding that the city will provide the manpower to put the poles and the signs in place.
That they would buy all the materials and we'd install them if they can get these.
How many man-hours are we looking at?
13 signs, probably, I'd say just figure 2 guys, so a half hour each sign of actual install plus equipment. You're probably, maybe a couple days, 2 guys.
Is it just 13 signs?
Yeah.
I mean, is there, the stars represent where the signs are going to be?
Yes.
I counted 22 stars, but I may be wrong.
And maybe they have locations more than what's picked out for where they,
Yeah. So we're talking minimal cost to the city to put these.
yeah, it's just some labor. I mean, and I'd, wait obviously for a day where we've got a gap in our, time where we're not pulling guys out of active roles.
Mr. Kimmons?
I've not heard of this group before. Where did they come from?
More about them, Brian? I mean, I hadn't heard of them either.
Yeah, I think building communities for better health.
It's a statewide organization. Do they have a local chapter?
Yes, these
Yeah.
ladies that are here are
I'm sorry,
local.
I didn't.
I know it's a statewide organization, but I guess they have a local organization that's part of
I
that.
don't remember ever seeing anything from them before.
I could get more information on them if you want me to.
No, I'm just, okay.
Anything else? Well, I would say, please help me in helping Councilman Brubaker work forward with his physical fitness, and let's move this to the next meeting. Anyone else opposed to moving that forward?
Is that going to be a requirement?
For Tim?
He has to participate.
He spoke up, so,
I think it'd be good
Can
for all of us, Jerry.
Can we move it forward to the next meeting for Tim? Anyone opposed to that? All right, so that's moving forward. All right, that comes to the conclusion of our agenda for this evening. Is there a motion to adjourn to closed session?
So move.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.